Hey guys, my name is Tony, and you are watching Big Daddy's Reviews. Hey guys, this is my first ever live stream, so I definitely appreciate you tuning in. Full disclosure, just remember this is a live stream. So if you hear dogs barking, if you hear my wife jumping in, hey, what are you doing? It's because this is live, y'all. This is definitely live. So I'm going to go ahead and get everything set up here, but what I'm going to be showing you guys today is my current watch collection for 2026 for my budget watch collection. So definitely really cool. And I want to say thank you to everyone who is been subscribing to my channel. There's been a lot of new subscribers, and I just want to tell you so much. I really, really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. I don't say that kind of like callously. I say that like with a full heart because it's the kind of person I am. I'm a put my heart on my heart sleeves kind of person. And y'all, I love doing this type of stuff. I don't know if you guys know this, but I do have another channel on YouTube called Faith and Coffee Bean. And if you like coffee, that's a great channel to go to. I would show you my kitchen, but it's a little messy right now. But I have a whole slew of coffee stuff. But guys, on this channel is kind of my general review channel. I like to review geek stuff, just like this really cool set of basically Ghostbusters Plasma Series car. And inside, I don't know if you can see it here. Let me bring it up a little close. I do have all the Ghostbuster figures right in there. Yes, I am a mid 40s, going on late 40s kind of guy. And I love the 80s and 90s. Here's my Back to the Future DeLorean diecast. I love this one. It's one of my favorite ones. This is Elite Series, Hot Wheels. But today, this is all about the watches. So this is my current basically collection. Now I'm wearing a couple watches on right now, and I'll kind of talk about that. And kind of, I guess the main reason why I wanted to do this video is I just wanted to kind of share with you all how easy it is to create a watch collection these days, and to kind of, I guess this is what all comes down to. It really kind of comes down to what's your budget? What are you willing to spend? I know that sounds crazy to even say that sometimes. But what are you willing to spend? And how open are you to homage, and how open are you to kind of like budget options? Now, I'm gonna tell you guys this right now. I'm incredibly frugal, okay? This watch right here is a watch that is an homage watch. This one is made by Watchdives. And this is probably one of my most recent watches. I just got it within the last 2 weeks, y'all. And I'm telling you, I absolutely love it. The finish is really great. If any of y'all are thinking about getting this watch, I cannot recommend this one more. It's just awesome. If it looks familiar to you, because it's really an homage to a Tudor Black Bay 54. And this has just been one of my favorite watches, and I'm so happy to get this. I have just ordered a San Martin, my first San Martin, that should be coming this week. And I ordered the Black Bay 55 homage blue dial, which is kind of like, actually not Black Bay 55, it's more like the Pelagos. So I'm really super excited. If anyone has that watch, let me know what you think about it, because I cannot wait to get it and do a review for this channel. But I love NATOs. I've got a big giant wrist, kind of joked around, but really seriously, I'm a big dude, kind of like a big John Candy looking kind of guy. And this is just awesome. I've my son, and I've got a 18-year-old who is, an older teen, and he's really into watch collection. Maybe one day I'll have a video with him where he can show his watch collection. But what's crazy is he's just been eyeballing this one and telling me how much he loves it. I might end up giving this to him when I get my new one, because the one thing about this, I'm going to just show you right now. Let me take off my current watch. Because I'm a big guy, I kind of feel like the 37-inch, even though it's not that much of a, it's only basically like 3 millimeters difference, I kind of feel like it doesn't sit, it looks small on my wrist, okay? Let's just put it that way. I have a solid 8.5-inch wrist, y'all. And I think most people have about a 7 to 7.5. I've got big wrist. I'm a big dude. And like I said, I think this looks really good, but it does look a little small, a little snug, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, my kiddo, he's got about a 7-inch wrist, so I think that's going to be the next adventure. So let's get into this, y'all. Let us get into this 100%. Okay, so I'm going to actually start off. Well, the second watch I'm going to show you is a watch that was my first purchase, okay, on AliExpress. This one right here. So this watch, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, one of my favorite companies has been Addiesdive, okay? I love Addiesdive. Look how beautiful this watch is. So this is definitely an homage to a classic Submariner Rolex. And y'all, this thing I just think is so beautiful. I picked it up for about, I want to say it was about $70 for this watch. And this was on AliExpress, and this was about 2 years ago. Y'all, look at that. That has the sunburst effect to it. It is a quartz movement. And I'm telling you, the weight on this feels so good in the hand. The band is really awesome. And this is what I really love. I'm going to show you guys something. See that red paint right there? One of the things I really love about having a budget collection, okay? And this might be a little bit of a soapbox moment, but I'm going to be very honest with you. I love having a budget collection because if I want to work on cars, if I want to change my oil, if I want to paint something, yes, I don't want to damage my watch, but I want to have a watch that I can wear and not feel like I can't touch. I don't want a museum piece. Now, you might be one of those folks that want to spend, you know, anywhere from $5,000 in the secondary market to $15,000 brand new and get a Rolex. And there's not anything wrong with that whatsoever. But I'm going to tell you guys, one of the things for me is I have a hard time parting with my money. Like I said, I'm very budget. And I just love the fact that I could be rough and tumble with this and just mess around with it. So like I mentioned, I have a coffee channel, and I was doing a paint job on one of my Italian coffee machines. And when I was doing that, I knocked over this bucket of red paint on this watch. And I immediately got some nail polish remover, and I started working this down. I was rubbing it, and I almost got all the paint out. But I'm just telling you guys, just the fact that you could barely see that on there, and that the fact that it's so waterproof and tight. I didn't remove any of the nail polish remover didn't remove any of this because I was really just focusing on the band and everything. Y'all, this watch is just a tank. And I'm telling you, I absolutely love Addiesdive. Addiesdive is my entry point into all of this. So this was my first watch I picked up. And my second watch I picked up was this, because I really wanted the Starbucks version. Here's the Starbucks version of the Addiesdive. And guys, if you want me to do full reviews of these and kind of do breakdowns, I'm more than happy to do that. But this is very similar. Again, the weight on this is just fantastic. I picked this one up for about $60 on AliExpress. Y'all, that is just the best thing in the world, okay? I love the fact that you could go on Amazon and sometimes get some of these next days. And I'm going to show you one I got on Amazon next. And I'm going to tell you how great it is because I just love that. But if you could see here, I'm going to try to get as close as possible without focus. There we go. I mean, but just to think about this as like a $60 to $70 watch, sometimes $50 on special, y'all, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's enjoying a great watch, but not breaking the bank. You know, you can go hiking with this. You could take it out. I live in Florida. I could jump into the water, go in the ocean, you know, get some salt water in this and just wash it off afterwards. But I'm just telling you guys, just for that fact alone, that's one of the things I love about kind of having a budget watch option. So here's to continue on with Addiesdive. Here's an Addiesdive I got on Prime Day. Now, again, I'm going to tell you something that I have noticed a little bit. This is also a quartz watch, and I know that it doesn't have the band on. It has a NATO. But it still feels really, really good. And this is, I know, one of their newer generation watches. Okay, this is the black dial. It's not a sunburst, but I got this thing for about 40 bucks on Prime Day. And the cool thing I love is I love churching it up, so to speak. I love the fact that you can get a NATO and you could swap bands and all that. You know, there's a lot of really great YouTubers out there that show videos about switching out the bezels, and I think that's going to be one of my next things I do. I was actually thinking about how cool would this watch look if it had a Tiffany blue bezel, that like baby blue, Tiffany blue. I think that would be awesome. And again, that's what, in my opinion, which is one of the best things about having a budget watch collection. Now, the next watch I want to show you all is kind of near and dear to my heart, okay? I'm going to tell you the reason why. My son is a very avid knife collector. He loves collecting knives, and he really loves Victorinox and Swiss Army, basically, the Swiss Army collection. And I really think this is where, if you want to get a budget watch, but you don't want to break the bank, but you want to have something that is nice and high quality, okay? I think this is an option that I think a lot of people don't realize that's out there. So eBay, the secondary market, there's tons of great watch sites where you can buy watches that are used. I picked this up on eBay. I picked it up for $120. Now, this is a Swiss quartz watch. So this is definitely, let me go ahead and open this up here. When this originally retailed, I believe this model was from the 90s. Let me go ahead and show you the front face. How gorgeous that is. Isn't that awesome? So there you have the basically Swiss Army logo. This is Victorinox, made in Switzerland, Swiss steel, you know, the coveted Swiss steel. And what's crazy is, with this particular one, there is an adjustment that you can make right here, and it's like a fold-in clasp adjustment. Now, I have it out pretty big because, like I've said, I'm kind of like a John Candy size type of dude. So I want to make sure that I have room for it. I'm going to put this on my wrist. I have not done a full review on this. If someone wants me to do a review, please let me know in the comments. But this is one of those things. I really think that, you know, you could see that it's used. So this had some love and wear. There's a little bit of scratches right here, but I'm okay with that. This is basically a 20-plus-year-old piece. I'm going to put this on. As you can see, there's this little spacer. Now, you could buy these links online as well, and I'm going to probably buy a link to get this added on. I had just got this not too long ago. But as you can see, this is I believe this is a 39 millimeter or 37 millimeter watch. Again, sits kind of small on my big wrist, but definitely cool. You know, I think if, again, you want to have a Swiss watch, it doesn't mean you have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars. Just definitely do your research. I think that's kind of what I've really enjoyed about getting into watches again and kind of getting into the watch hobby itself, is that there are tons of options that you can do. You know, you don't have to just, I know there's a lot of folks where I've had people say to me, you don't want to buy something from China, blah, 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 blah. And I think that's kind of silly, because a lot of the manufacturing that gets done is being done in China. And even components are ordered from some of these folks that are making, if you really do a deep dive into the Homage, Microbrands, you start to realize that a lot of them started off making parts for other watches. And now they're starting to get into that point where they're making their own watches. And I think that's something to really kind of consider. I think that we're living in a kind of a different age of having a good watch. And that's why I'm very open to like micro brands and stuff, because I personally don't like gatekeeping. That's kind of my big thing. I don't like gatekeeping. I shared this story on another video where I talked about this watch right here. Okay. And this is kind of, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to give this with a little bit of caution, okay? I am not at all saying that you should buy replicas. This was gifted to me by a family member, and I really appreciate them. They picked it up on an overseas trip. This is a replica watch. It actually has a seagull, very reliable, really beautiful. I just did a big review video on this one as well. Really, actually kind of dependable movement. But this replica is kind of so well done, I think it would trick someone who doesn't really know what they're looking at. I would think that a couple years ago, I could walk into a store and buy this and not realize I was buying a replica. And I think there needs to be a lot of caution in that. And even though I know the movement in this is really good, it's a seagull movement that's very dependable, that's based off an ETA movement. And a lot of super clones and a lot of replicas use this particular type of movement because it's very Swiss, because it's really copied off a Swiss movement. But I'm gonna say, guys, what's hard about watches like this is that you don't have the QC. So there's not quality control. You don't have the same dependability. My worry, I was telling my son about this. My worry about this watch is that I take this in the water and it just gets waterlogged. I would not trust this actually being in the water for a long period of time. And I'm just going to be very honest. I've heard horror stories. And that's kind of one of those things where it's going to go back to this next watch. And I just did a review on this one. So this is Watchdives Sea Ghost, and it's an Omega Homage. And this is, I believe, titanium for the casing. It has the P2 500, basically movement, okay? This is not one with an open case back that you can see it. It is definitely locked in there. When I put this to my ear, it sounds beautiful. I don't hear a rotor. The performance on this has been stellar. I haven't been wearing it, so that's why I would need to wind it to get it going again. But this is just a beautiful piece. Now, this is my most expensive, and this is about that $100 to $150. Now, I paid a little bit more for this, but the reason why I included this is because A, it's part of my collection, and B, I've seen this go for that low for about 150 bucks. And you can go to Watchdives and you can go to different stores, and sometimes you could even get pre-owned ones, which is basically a returned item, and you could purchase these for way less. So that is another option to think about, you know, and I don't think there's anything wrong in that. I just ordered off of Watchdives a San Martin that was pre-owned, probably returned, that says there's no flaws, and I cannot wait to review that and test that for you guys. And then here is a great watch that I got from Addiesdive. This one is very, very affordable. Right now, this is sitting on Amazon for about 36 bucks. I picked this up for 20 bucks. It's a quartz watch, obviously military based. I believe it's based off of Seiko. And I want to say in the movie The Great Outdoors, this is the watch, or very similar watch to what John Candy was wearing. Which I'm a big John Candy fanatic for obvious reasons. But I love this watch. This is a fun watch. Again, this is another watch if you want to wear it while you're around hunting, if you want to do some boating, if you want to have some fun and just goof around and not worry about what you're doing. Is it perfect? No. This is a very cheap filling bezel up top. I guarantee this is a very light aluminum. There's play in it. But it's a fun watch. This is one of those watches that's just fun, you know? And I'm telling you guys, that's kind of the cool thing. When you go on AliExpress or you go on Amazon, but AliExpress is going to probably have the better rates, you could just find some good stuff. Second to last watch I want to show you is this watch. I, again, picked this up on a Prime Day, and I just really love it. This is again, Addiesdive. And it is an homage watch to, obviously, the Rolex. I just really love the basically the antique look. If you could see right there, it has this great antique vibe to it. Let's get it focused. And for not a lot of money, it's worth it because you could have those options and don't really feel guilty about it. And then this watch has been one of my favorites. So I just got this one pretty recently too. It's I don't know, last few months I've been going crazy over this. This is an homage watch, again, Addiesdive, but it's an homage to a Tudor, okay? And it's just phenomenal. I really love the vintage look on this. I really love, here, let me show you the clasp. The clasp is really awesome. This was about 80 bucks for this watch. It's a milled clasp, so it's not stamped, but I believe this portion might be stamped, but this is milled. Okay, there's micro adjustments in there. Let's go ahead and put it on. Look at that, y'all. How cool that is. That look nice, sharp, really vivid, has really great lume, definitely awesome lume. And of course, I'm wearing my my right hand, my Ultra 3. But yeah, there's just so many great options for finding budget watches, from going from the first watch I showed you to this Tudor Homage, again, another Tudor Homage watch. Look how awesome that is together, and by doing things like adding these awesome straps, this is a strap that's modeled after the one that Sean Connery wore, I believe, in the second Bond movie. And I just love that. I did a video about this, kind of like my Bond watch. I think it's super important. I think the hardest thing about getting a collection and making stuff out is I think if you're like me, for years I didn't collect watches. And I kind of told myself I couldn't afford what I wanted, which was a Rolex. I couldn't afford something crazy nice. And I was just nuts for thinking about wanting to have a watch. And the truth is, y'all, that was the wrong thinking. I've been married about 20 years, and I'm one of those folks I really like to bless my wife and give, my son and make sure they have nice things. I joke around my wife, I could spend 20,000, well, 20,000, I have spent 20,000 on something. I could spend 5,000 on a ring and not blink an eye when it comes to her. But when it comes to me and kind of treating myself and having cool stuff, I don't know. I get weird about it. And I don't know if you're like me. I hope you're not like me. But one thing I've kind of learned is that you just really gotta, the cool thing is with this homage market out there with these micro brands, you can get some really cool watches for just amazingly affordable prices. And why hold yourself back from having a fun hobby? If you want the Swiss genuine article, then buy vintage. Get something like this of a Torinox. Go on there, find an old Omega for $2,000 or whatnot. I mean, there's so many different really cool options you can do. Biggest advice I'd give anybody is don't hold yourself back. There's definitely options out there. This isn't, like I said, I'm in my mid 40s and it's not the days to dial up. We all have smartphones, we have computers in our pockets. And the cool thing is there's just so many different really cool options out there. And I wish somebody would have kind of told me that a long time ago. Hey, if you want to have a cool watch collection, you can still do it. Just do your research. Join watch forums. Go on YouTube. Subscribe to channels. I'm not necessarily a watch channel, but if you're a watch geek like me, hit the subscribe button. I love to talk about stuff on a budget, but I also do reviews on goofy man cave stuff like this, Ghostbusters and Back to the Future. There's just a lot of really cool things you can do. So I'm going to tell you guys this right now. My advice that I can give to anybody is just don't hold yourself back. Just have fun. Jump into the watch, to the deep end with both hands and make sure your watch is waterproof. Y'all, I really appreciate you watching. Again, this has been a live video. If you watch this later on, remember it is live. I definitely appreciate you liking and subscribing and hanging out with me. Let me know what you all think and hope you all have a great day. Again, thanks for watching.